off! The cavalry's here!
Oh man, that intro. It's so awesome.
Dude, I will never stop getting chills from that damn intro. Big, fat props to Bo Schwartz, a.k.a. Gorath, for that lovely intro. Welcome back, everyone. This is Overwatchers, the show all about Blizzard's FPS, Overwatch. I'm Garrett Weinzerl. I'm sitting here with my buddy Patrick Beja, and we're shaking off some losses, man. We're shaking off some losses.
So, all right. I wanted to talk to you about this for just a little bit before we started the show, actually. We played together a couple of days ago, and yes, we had a bad streak of maybe 4 or 5 losses. And that, sometimes happens in every game, but it seems like you were getting, I don't want to say salty, because that's not what you were doing, but you were getting a little bit frustrated and disappointed, almost sad. And I wonder if that's always the way you react to loss streaks.
That many in a row? Oh, yes. Very much so. I hate losing. It is one of the things I cannot stand the most in this world, especially when it pertains to competitive video games.
So I think... sorry.
And I get tilted in that sense because it's more of a team game and I'm playing with friends. So I don't get angry because I don't want it to feel like I'm blaming my team. So I just kind of get disappointed. I'm like, damn, I just want us to have a good time. And just like, I would rather us be having a good time laughing at how we just owned everyone's faces versus us being like, oh, it sucks we lost. And then trying to find like the fun, like, oh, but at least this happened. And that's not how I like to hang out with my buddies with video games. Now, if I was like, if I'm playing a 1v1 game like StarCraft or Hearthstone, then I'm just like, I am terrible, because it's all on me. I get really angry at myself.
So really, your sadness is a way of not blaming your friends? That's what you're saying?
Pretty much. Like, it's this defense mechanism. It's like, well, if you get angry, everyone's just going to think that you hate them.
So I completely understand what you're saying, and certainly no one likes losing, and loss streaks are painful for everyone, but I felt in this one in particular, on the last game, we had a really good game. Even though we lost, it was a close game, and we fought really hard, and there were a few nice actions, and I felt pretty good about that specific game, which sort of, it helps me in general when a game is a loss, but is still a close game. I don't get nearly as frustrated as I do when it's just a plain ridiculous loss, and I even enjoy it when it's a close game. I'm fine with losing.
No, normally I'd be on the same page with you. Like, I get that, and I absolutely have those scenarios. But as you started this conversation with, we were on a 5-loss streak, so I was just kind of like, okay. All right, I'm done, guys. I just really want to win one. There's cutoffs. If I'm doing the usual, what I'm assuming Blizzard is aiming for, win one, lose one. They want to get you at around a 50% win rate, which is their goal with most of their competitive games. That's fine. Yeah, in Hearthstone, it can be a pain to win one and lose one because it's such a grind. But it's fine. It's all right. I can deal with that because I know that's the goal. But when you lose 5 in a row, man, for me, it's tough for me to pull myself up out of that. So
understandable. So what's your win rate ratio roughly?
I have no idea. I haven't been keeping an eye on it. I didn't even know that was a statistic you could keep track of.
It's in the profile. There's a number of wins and number of losses. I'm very slightly positive. So for me, at least, it seems the game is doing a pretty good job at finding the right people to get me with or against.
Oh, I'm sure over the course of it, it doesn't feel like it's been bad. I definitely feel like I'm probably at around a 50%. But I'm fairly certain that was the worst losing streak I've had since getting in the beta. And I'm not making a joke. I'm pretty sure, like 5 in a row. I don't think I've had a worse losing streak than that.
Well, if I were you, I'd blame your teammates. Your other teammates.
Your other teammates. Oh, okay.
Not me, but
because it was just 4 of us. We're gonna blame those other 2 people because we don't know who they are.
Let's do that.
Yeah, let's do that. We've come to a conclusion, ladies and gentlemen. We figured it out. Anyways, there's some news to talk about. Quite a bit, actually. We got a patch, man, since we last spoke.
It was the one patch to rule them all. It's the thing that everyone was waiting for, because as we discussed, when the beta came back a couple of weeks ago, it was very much they tried to make Bastion and Torbjorn easier to deal with for beginners and more sticky at higher levels of play. And I think the words of Kaplan in regards to the easier to deal with for beginners, were we have very clearly failed on that front.
Yeah.
I think something like that.
Yeah,
so
it's strange,
the patch
right?
was a nerf for those characters.
Yeah, because their goal was to, like you said, easier for new players to deal with these characters in a counter sense, not necessarily play them, but play against them, but also still make them functional in higher end skill sets where you were seeing Bastion and Torbjorn very easily dealt with by pro players. And really they just made that worse. It was even harder for new players to deal with it, and only the hardest of hardcore could counter some of these turret cheese strats that we were seeing. So yeah, I could tell when you put in the notes, and the only thing you included were the two turrets. I'm like, I wonder what Patrick wants to talk about today.
Well, it feels like it's the two important ones, but there are a few more changes for D.Va and Mercy, a change that is going to be reversed, by the way. But certainly the two turrets one were the big ones.
What change is going to be reversed?
For Mercy, she's not able to jump, to leap to her dead allies anymore. There's this little white soul,
and they're bringing it back.
Jump to. Yeah, and they're bringing it back because the idea was that it became a little bit too difficult to target whatever you wanted to target, and it. In the end, the problem is it's very useful to be able to jump to someone who's dead, especially if you want to revive them or if you want to jump out of the way, so they're going to bring it back.
I am ecstatic to hear about that change. I didn't hear about that for some reason, because I was, of all the things that happened in this patch, that was the thing I was the most angry about, because Mercy is my go-to support. And that was fantastic. A, for setting up awesome ults, and B, just for escaping when stuff goes bad for your team.
I think you weren't the only person who expressed discontent at that change. Let's put it like that.
And just to clarify, you also lumped D.Va into your opening statement. They're not reverting D.Va's change, are they?
No.
Okay. Oh, thank God, because I'm so happy about that change. But let's talk about the turrets first, because that's the meat, I think, of this discussion. So first up, let's talk about Bastion, because B comes before T. Or some other reason. So his configuration, recon, got to change. Its maximum weapon spread has been decreased by 25%. But the more important thing is his sentry configuration. He no longer gains any armor bonus. So going in between sentry and going in between recon, his health stays the same, which I think is fantastic. It is such a good change.
So you have to understand that when the beta came back, he went from 300 health in recon mode, so when he's running around, to 600 health in sentry mode, which is the most amount of health I think that any character has. Maybe one tank has that much, but I'm not even sure. So it was kind of crazy.
It was absolutely nuts. I think it was originally a concession for getting rid of his forward-facing shield that he used to have, but it was just far too strong. This is a character that has a self-heal that isn't on any type of cooldown. It's a relatively fast self-heal, and he can use it on a whim in both modes. So I don't think he needs to double his health when he's in awesome mode.
And the fact that they just removed that health bonus completely says a lot about how imbalanced that was. I would have thought, if you're going to reduce it, then maybe let him get 100 health or 150, but getting completely rid of it really means it was a problem. But the way Bastion works now, I think, is okay. He is a lot more mobile because with his recon mode, you're more precise. So basically, you can do something when you're running around and not in sentry mode. Because before that, the recon mode was a little bit weak. You couldn't really aim well, and you would probably get killed if you didn't manage to set up somewhere and get in sentry mode. Now he can run and gun, as they put it in the comments. And in sentry mode, the thing that's not in the notes is the fact that his setup and reload times in sentry mode have been slightly reduced. So what that means is that Bastion is much more of a mobile turret than he was before. Before, he was really a turret, and he would move around from time to time. Now you can really switch between the two configurations much more efficiently.
Right. I've been surprised since the change how many kills I've been getting in recon mode. It's not like they've changed the main goal of Bastion. It's not like I go in and my goal is to run around in recon mode and get kills. No, I'm still on my way to somewhere to get into sentry mode to really lay down some hurt. But if on the way I get into a skirmish with someone, he can actually hold his own now, which I really dig.
Yeah, especially since, as you were saying, never forget, Bastion can heal himself relatively quickly. So you get into a little bit of a skirmish, you shoot a few times, maybe take them down a little bit in health, either get out of the way for a second or just right there in place because they are getting out of the way, heal yourself and keep going. It's a pretty efficient strategy as well.
It's kind of like I've definitely played Bastion like Chen in Heroes of the Storm, where I'm kind of caught out and people are attacking me and I'm fighting and I see my healer coming from far away, but I know they're not going to quite make it in time, so I just stop attacking and just stand still and heal myself because I'm like, well, by the time they get here, they'll be able to save me. So I'm not sure that's a good strategy, but that's what I do when I panic.
It's, I think it works, and it's a very Bastion specific thing to do. So I would have loved for the way it worked before to still be viable, but this is still Bastion. They didn't change what Bastion was. So I think it's a pretty good compromise, and we can talk about the effect on the meta when we've covered Torbjorn and all of them as well. But I think it worked out. We're not seeing that dominance, that incredible dominance of Bastions anymore.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Torbjorn, because he had a few changes as well. The bullet damage on his turret has been reduced from 16 to 14, and the turret repair amount has been decreased to 100 to 50 health per swing. So it's literally been halved, the rate at which Torbjorn can repair his turret. And let me tell you, as a Torbjorn fan, this is felt. Oh, it is hard to keep my turret alive, folks. Even when I'm in my ultimate form, it can be tough.
The ultimate, I think, is
it's definitely better because you're swinging faster, but it's still you feel it even then.
You swing faster, and people can't really stay in front of it and shoot at it, whereas it's a little bit easier when it's only level 2.
Right. Although I've still seen when there's a big push going on, say there's a Winston shield down or something that's absorbing shots from the turret, it can be still quite tough to even keep your level 3 turret up while you're in the middle of Molten Core. Now, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah,
I mean,
course.
before it was nigh impossible to kill the turret, so I think it's a good change. I'm just saying that as a Torbjorn player, I'm really noticing this. Also, his rivet gun got an ammo decrease. It used to have 20, now it has 18 ammo. But alternate fire got a bit of a buff. The cost on your alt fire, which is this big spread scatter shot, which actually does a surprising amount of damage, but it's wildly inaccurate if you're not right up on your target. It used to cost 5 ammo to fire it, now it only costs 3 ammo to fire it.
So basically, you have a little bit less ammo to shoot your regular shots, but you can now shoot 6 times with your alternate instead of 4, which is significant.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I was ignoring the alt fire for the longest time. And when someone gets right up on you, that is a deadly, deadly attack. So, Torbjorn's out there, use that alt fire when someone's up on you.
So basically what they've done is that Torbjorn is still very much a turret engineer. He does get that gameplay where the turret is extremely important, but now I think it was the intent with the initial beta, I mean, when the beta just returned, the idea was that you would put up your turret, and if they destroy it, if your enemies destroy it, doesn't matter all that much because you can put it back up and get it to level 2 in, I think, 5 swings. So that's about 6 seconds or something like that. So you still do that. And a lot of people are saying, oh, but the turrets can be destroyed way too easily now. Sure, but it doesn't matter because it's going to be back up in a heartbeat and upgraded in a tiny bit more than a heartbeat. So
right, and you need that concession because the turret is free. You can create one, and I think it needs to be free. Number Fox in the chat room is saying it is still literally free though. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think he needs that because without it, he's not all that helpful. He needs the turret up, and I think 5-6 seconds to get it upgraded to level 2. That feels like a lifetime when the enemies are on the point. It almost feels like you should switch to another character because you're not going to be able to get this thing up and running. If you died and had to run back as Torbjorn. Which I think is a good place for the hero to be.
Yeah, I agree. I think 5 seconds is nothing if you're keeping enemies at bay, but if it's a middle of a rush, 5 seconds is going to be too much. You just put your turret down and start shooting with that alt fire that you mentioned that has been buffed a little bit.
If you're close enough to your enemies.
Well, yeah, of course. And there's another undocumented change, just like for Bastion, which is, I think, the biggest nerf to the turret. It's the very slight delay that it now has to acquire targets. Because if you remember, before that, the turret would instantly, like literally the moment you would look at it, it would start shooting at you, and it has 100% precision rate.
Right, I was
always reach you. It will always shoot at you.
On Kotaku last week, they had a piece that was like titled "Turrets Are Ruining Overwatch," and it was just this GIF of a tracer basically blinking, and she was in line of sight for the blink of an eye, and the turret killed her. And it was, I think, a level 1 turret. It was insane, and that shouldn't be happening. And that's absolutely a change that needed to happen. Very curious as to why it was undocumented though, because that was the thing I think the vocal majority was hoping for.
Yeah. So personally, as a non-Torbjorn player, I also feel that he's in kind of a good place right now. But you're the Torbjorn fan. Are you going to cry foul and big nerf that shouldn't have happened that hard?
No, he needed a change. He was far too strong.
Right, but did he change too much? Is he too weak now?
No, I think he's in a good place. I'm still having some really good plays as Torbjorn. I'm still getting plays of the game every now and then. I think he's in a good place. I think they may have found the sweet spot.
Cool. All right. So if even Torbjorn fans are happy, then I think we're good with these changes.
Yeah. And again, folks, if for some reason this is your first time tuning into the show, our goal here is to give you the everyman's the weekend warrior perspective on Overwatchers or Overwatch. We're not here to give you the pro take on things. So. Which
is a valid question, though. We don't know because, again, the biggest issue that they've had with these two characters was that they were too strong for beginners and too weak for high-level players. And we don't know how good they feel for high-level players. That's certainly something that is an issue. If they end up, being nerfed so much that they can't really be used anymore for high-level play, that's going to be an issue. And with these levels of nerfs, I wouldn't be, well, maybe not Bastion. Bastion seems okay. I'm wondering if Torbjorn is still usable in high-level play. I haven't heard anything to the contrary, but it's still a question.
Yeah. In time will tell. We're still super early. Like, I don't think
of course.
I don't think the meta is quite done baking for Overwatch, so...
Yeah. So what do you think about the meta for these two characters now? Are they in a good place? Do you still see them? What do you think?
Yes and yes. I think they're in a good place. I do still see them, and I think they can both still be quite effective. And there's definitely counters. Like Bastion still seems like he can turn, like a good Bastion can turn the tide of a fight, and that's a good thing. You should be able to adapt to a situation and have a positive effect, but he can also then be countered. Like that Roadhog we went up against, I think in that last game, that Roadhog was just playing perfectly. And when they were in the final push, I'm like, all right, I'm done. I'm switching to freaking Bastion. We need to do this. And I sentryed up, and not a second later, hooked, dead. Guy was 100% on point, and that's how you can counter a Bastion. Now, if we were more coordinated, we had people kind of out in front, running, defense, making sure the hooks aren't connecting, we could have probably pushed that back. But there's definitely a counter, a push and pull, and this this weird real time 5-on-5 game of rock paper scissors that I love about this game.
6-on-6.
Sorry, 6-on-6. My apologies.
It's absolutely. I completely agree. I think both of these characters can be very frustrating, especially in defense, especially in Temple of Anubis, which is slightly defense favored if you believe what everyone's saying on Reddit and on the forums. I think it's actually the case. The defense has an easier time there, but they can be frustrating in the same way that every other character can now. It's every character can be incredibly frustrating and incredibly annoying if they're played well and they're doing their job the way they're supposed to do it. They all have counters, and yes, if you get into a defense point and you have Torbjorn and Bastion, and maybe even worse, a couple of Torbjorns and a Bastion, it's got to be frustrating and you have to deal with them. But it also happens that you come up across, I don't know, a Lucio that's incredibly frustrating, or a Reinhardt, or the Roadhog, or all of them.
Reinhardt is probably still, for me personally, the one I'm like, oh, look, I got stunned for what feels like a lifetime again, and the entire team is now dead.
But that's his ultimate. All of the ultimates can do that.
Well, yes. Yeah. Well, at this point, like Hanzo, I'm like, yeah, whatever. Out of the way. Cool story, bro. Hanzo's ultimate is actually his main left click ability. that's Hanzo's real ultimate, is the fact that he can one-shot you with no warning. But I mean, there's definitely varying degrees of, I think, effectiveness on ultimates. But
yeah.
Any closing thoughts on the turrets before we move on?
No, I think we might see slight changes still, but I think it's mostly a good place. The only question mark is, as we were saying, on the higher level of plays. But yeah, for now, I'm happy with the way they work now, mostly.
Yeah. I want to talk about one D.Va change specifically, and that's that her self-destruct ultimate, the charge on that now generates passively even when D.Va is dead or that her mech is destroyed, and I am so exceptionally happy about this. Because when we first came back, after the beta came back online, and we talked about all of the changes that have been made, the big one that affected everyone equally was that you no longer gained ultimate charge when taking damage. And I said at the time, I was like, this feels like a bit of a strong nerf to D.Va specifically, because she's always, in the thick of it as a tank, or all tanks in general, but specifically D.Va. And I'm really happy about this, because it felt, I every time I would play D.Va, it felt like my ultimate just took forever to get a hold of this darn thing.
Specifically when you're out of your mech, right? Not when you're in the mech.
Correct, right. Exactly. Because there's times where, if you're doing the tanky thing and you're just in the thick of it, you just melt, and then you spend the rest of the time hiding in corridors trying to hit people with your pea shooter so you can get your suit back, and then you get back into your suit and you're like, oh my god, my ultimate charge is at like 20%. What is happening?
So the self-destruct is now regenerated. Oh, okay. I hadn't understood what that change was. You mean the self-destruct, your actual ultimate is building up even when you're not in the mech, is what you're saying.
Correct. That's what's happening.
Okay. And even her Cole mech ultimate, basically the ultimate that she gets when she's not in the suit, the cost has been decreased by 20%. So you're going to get back into it faster as well. So both have been affected.
Which I really like, because it felt like if you lost your suit, for me, it felt like it would be better to just go and die so you could get back into the fight in your suit faster.
Right. Yeah, that was a feeling that was shared as well. So now it's better. The 20% is enough, given how you gain also the other ultimate.
Yeah. It's
cool.
I'm really happy with D.Va right now.
I haven't played D.Va, I don't think, maybe once since the beta has returned. I'm not sure how I feel about her, but it's personal. I mean, how I think she's fine as a character. I'm not sure I like playing her.
Yeah, I'm on the opposite scale. She is my favorite tank. I love.
So do you feel you can fill the role of the tank, which is, as we learned in school, boys and girls, disrupt and occupy? Does she do that well? Because it always feels like she shows up and she's more of an attack tank than a tank.
Yes, and that's kind of what I like about her. I mean, if you're being healed, you can no problem tanking whatsoever. But what I like is, in this situation I frequently find myself in, which is no one paying attention to me on the tank killing me, I because of the high mobility, I can go after I can go after all the snipers. I can go after that Bastion that's really tucked in and open a hole, create an opening. And then when I have my ultimate, it's like, oh, are they really stacked up on top of a point? Not anymore, they're not. So, I don't know. I really like D.Va. I think for me, it's just the mobility, the fact that I can just fly at a moment's notice, and it's on a really short cooldown. And I also just found out, not because I did it, but because Kyle did it, you can push people off of things when you use your fly ability. Yeah. I didn't know this. Didn't know. I had never seen it happen before. And then Kyle saved my bait. I was on Torbjorn and someone was attacking me, and he just flew up and pushed them right off the edge.
That, I think the most satisfying kills are definitely the ones where you push someone off any edge and they fall to their deaths. And it's happened a few times, actually, that I would push someone off an edge and they would be either Pharah or Winston or Genji or someone, and they would run back up and kill me. That was the most frustrating thing ever, but really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk about some Jeff Kaplan quotes, because he's been rather chatty this week.
Yeah, there's a few pretty good bits of information. A lot of those come from the excellent summaries at Overpone, I think. Yeah, that's the site I use. They had a summary of his PC Games End interview and a roundup of his quotes. So
yeah, he's been definitely making his rounds this week. First off, he said that the initial beta wave was not mainly streamers getting access, that actually less than 1% of total invites were to streamers. He said that was just a perception problem.
Which is still a problem. I don't think it isn't, but it's just to mention the fact that I think it's the first time we've had a number on this, and less than 1% of the total invites were streamers. Obviously, you're going to see them more, but just wanted to mention that 1% number to sort of put an end to the conspiracy theories. Unless that number, the fact that he said it's untrue, and it is a conspiracy as well, which you never know.
Even if it was, and feel free to keep me in line, Patrick, because clearly I'm part of the chosen few and don't have a right to speak to this since I'm in the beta. But would that seem all that crazy, that you would give the game you would probably like to promote to the people that will promote your game for free?
Well, he's also saying that it's a beta, that is supposed to be a beta and not an early access thing. And in order to get a beta, you need to get a wide range of different types of players and different machines and all of this. So I think it would be disingenuous to pretend, well, it's just a beta, and to not invite lots of regular people.
Fair enough, but that's definitely not what is happening.
Yeah, no, that's not what's happening. No.
Yeah, I've run into multiple people who either listen to this show or other podcasts that I do that are not podcasters, that are not streamers.
No, I think by now everyone's in agreement that it has gotten to the point where a lot of people that aren't streamers or podcasters have been invited. So I think now it's not even a real question anymore. Yeah.
Kaplan also said that he thinks a few new skins should show up in March and some in April, but also don't forget, guys, that the progression will be reset at some point. And he said, quote, "Please don't get too attached." Too late, Mr. Kaplan.
Did you see, I tweeted the skin I just got this afternoon.
Oh, you got the Explorer Winston, right?
Yes.
Yeah, dude, that is such a... Winston is... I'm slowly falling in love with Winston because everybody I play this game with, I think, wants to marry the ape, which is creepy. Which is very creepy, but I get it, man. He's got everything I like. He's got like self-sustainability with his shield. He's got an incredibly high damage attack. He has crazy mobility. And his ultimate is, just break those glasses and go nuts, guys. Go nuts.
It is really good. So yeah, new skins. I don't think we had much doubt that we would get new skins because a bunch of the characters don't have legendary skins. Just as a recap, the rare ones are weird colors. The epic ones are very better colors. They look better. And the legendary ones are actually different costumes. So that's where the Punk Tracer comes from, the Explorer Winston, and some of them don't have legendary skins. So
the Gambler McCree, which is my personal favorite because he looks like he walked straight out of Deadwood, which I'm currently watching. So Really
Yeah,
digging
it's
it.
really good.
Looks,
I've been playing McCree, man. We have to talk about what we've been doing in the beta later. But yeah,
absolutely.
so more in March, more in April. So I'm really looking forward to those.
Yep. He said that it is their intention to revisit play of the game in the future, that they have some ideas to improve play of the game and add more diversity to the moment, which is absolutely needed. I can't remember the last time I saw Mercy or Zenyatta. Like,
well, I don't think those ever happen. Maybe a Zenyatta if he really kills a lot of people. The problem is you don't get play of the game if you're tanking really well or if you're healing really well. And both of those are super important. Well, I'm going to say supporting even more than healing. But the thing is, as much as I would love to see play of the games where those things happened, I don't really know how they're going to manage to calculate them. Like, yes, you stood on the point for 2 minutes or a minute and a half. How is that going to show in the play of the game?
I don't think you can do that, but I think you can definitely set something up for healing. Like if you set a threshold for like a save, like a really clutch save where like this person was below 15% of health and still taking damage and you brought them back from the brink. Or, I mean, it's easy with Mercy. It's like, well, you res 4 people. Holy crap. Yeah. Like, which is now actually a feat before the yard change on that. It used to just be like, yeah, well, yeah, good for you, Mercy. But
maybe if you save someone and then you go on to take a point right afterwards, that can become you actually saved everyone to get the objective. I could see that possibly with an ultimate from Lucio. But things like, I don't know, the teleporter, for example, which is essential for some types of games. A teleporter is definitely going to win you the game. Do you just look at people that come out of the teleporter over?
It's just a shot of the teleporter. Bloop, 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 people coming out of it.
Maybe the play of the game doesn't need to be one continuous moment. Maybe for a teleporter, for example, it's going to be like you got 30 people from teleporters, and then you show them coming out of the teleporter and coming back again, like a supercut of everyone coming out of the teleporter.
That's the thing.
With a special effect, or
see, that's the thing. I would like it to go, but I can't imagine that would be easy to program.
No, I'm sure. Well, we don't expect what's easy from Blizzard. We don't ask them to do what's easy because it's easy. We expect them to do what's hard because it's fun, or some kind of speech.
Fair enough. Lilyria also said that loot boxes will be purchasable with real money, not credits, everyone. So get your credit cards ready.
Right. So I'm pretty sure what she meant was that you can purchase the loot boxes with real money, but you can't purchase credits with real money. So you are going to need to pay for random stuff. You're not going to be able to purchase credits and then go in and buy the skin you really want. It's going to be a Hearthstone type deal. You can't buy a specific card. You have to buy lots of cards and accrue, hope you get it. Hope you get the one you want in the packs.
And if you don't get it, you
get some.
Yeah, if you don't get it, you get duplicates, and you eventually just accrue points to get what you want, which I think is good. And we're going to talk. Some more stuff came up in the PC Games interview.
PC Games N, yeah.
Sorry, PC Games N. Specifically about the loot system. There was a quote from Kaplan saying there is no such thing as a random loot system, at least not here at Blizzard. We're very careful of what we do, and I don't understand it at all because it seems at the moment, and especially with the comments feature on in this interview, that it is entirely random.
I think what he meant was it's not fully random in the sense that if you don't get an epic or legendary for a while, then they're going to tilt the odds in your favor for you to get, after 10 or 20 boxes,
gotcha.
You're going to get one. In that sense, it's not random. I don't think he meant that we're going to give you, skins for characters you don't play, like Scott Johnson believes, apparently.
It's certainly what it feels like for me. Although I've started playing Tracer because I got that Punk Tracer skin, and it's amazing.
I think it feels that way for a lot of people because there are maybe 5 characters you really love and you would like to get stuff for, and there are 20 characters total. So obviously there are going to be more characters that you get stuff for that you don't like than the ones you do like. So I think that's where it comes from. But he also addresses this. I don't think it's in that interview, but he did mention that they would like, they're thinking about maybe weighing the type of items you get to get more of those for the characters you play the most. They're thinking about it now.
Right, and I saw it in the notes, but now I can't find it. I know it's in here
Oh,
somewhere.
yeah, it's here. They may look into crate weighting to help you get items for characters you play more. Getting nothing for them sucks.
Yes, it does. We will be getting legendary skins for all heroes, and he also went on to say that we will be, quote, blown away by upcoming skins.
I'm looking forward to getting blown away.
I'm really excited to see what, again, D.Va fan. I want to see a legendary skin for D.Va. I want to know what that's going to look like, because I don't know. Like, it's going to look like a Thor from StarCraft, because I'd buy that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that they're going to go to cross game stuff. It would take you out of the.
I'm not saying 1-to-1, but although in her bio it does say she's a StarCraft player, so that'd be pretty.
That
sweet.
is true. That is true. You are
although
correct.
I could see D.Va playing Zerg because she's cool. So.
Yeah, it's. I mean, certainly this is, as we were saying last time. It's become one of the most exciting things that we didn't think we were going to be excited about. It's those skins and those intros and those highlights are pretty amazing. So
the highlight animation, I can't believe how much I care about that and how much I want that. I don't even get to play the game all that often, and at the moment I would say it's a waste spending money on any of those highlights for healers, but it's just so dope. When it does happen, you're so happy you have it. You're like, yeah, I'm a boss. I'm such a boss. I got a custom highlight.
I sort of weighed those potential uses of those rewards and ended up deciding that it was better to buy emotes rather than highlights. But, I still bought a few highlights because they're really awesome.
Again, D.Va coming in with the best emote where she draws a digital heart. It's the best emote.
It's the only one she has for now, too.
Yeah, but it's the best one, so it doesn't matter.
There's
no other emote you should have. No other emote you should have. Kaplan doesn't think purchasing loot boxes is an issue since you can also just earn them in the game. I agree with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. On top of that, it's all cosmetic. It's not affecting your gameplay in any way, shape, or form. So.
Yep.
So they also said more content will be added to the loot boxes over time as long as the community wants it. I don't think you're going to have a dearth of community wanting more stuff from the loot boxes, so I think you're good to go. Keep pushing forward with that, Mr. Kaplan.
Yeah, there's already a ton of them. I can absolutely see this, within 2 or 3 years becoming having so much stuff, they're going to need a better UI to manage it.
Yeah. On the subject of progression, Kaplan said that the response to the system has been good, and it's what they are aiming for, and then some. So I'm really happy with the progression system. What about you, Patrick?
Yeah, it's really good. I think the number of XP, the amount of XP you need to get up one level stabilizes at level 23. You need 22,000 XP to get a higher, to get one level. And that corresponds to less than 10 matches usually. I would say that the matches on average would give you 2,500, maybe even a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, depending on how well it goes. It's mostly about the time you spend in game. So overall, it's probably going to be 10 matches at an average of 8 minutes per match. It's every hour and a half of play, you're going to get one level. So I think it's pretty good. It's a good place, and it still feels good after, what level am I? 42, 43. So I'm still excited seeing that, the different colored glow on that loot box. And when I see it's more than blue, then, I might have like a really cool epic or legendary. So yeah, it's still exciting.
Are you disturbed like me at how you're realizing you really we're pretty much hamsters in cages, man? Like you get a little pellet and you're just filled with happiness, and then it immediately goes away once you open it, and it's just you're chasing that pellet.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course. I mean, for Overwatch, I think the thing they achieved is that really playing the game for me is the pellet. It is the rush of happiness and joy, and the loot is just a wonderful little exciting bonus, but it hasn't replaced the main thing for me. So in that sense, the progression system works.
Well, that's good. They said there's a concern about the rate at which Mercy can gain medals.
Yeah, I've seen. So basically, this comes from a controversy on Reddit where some idiot was saying, "Oh, I'm getting so much less XP than everyone else as Mercy." And again, the system is 90% the time you've spent in the match, and if you complete, so it's 4 XP per second that you spent in the match. Then 250 if you complete the match, whether you win or lose. Then 500 if you win, and a bonus for a medal if you get one. So if you get, let's say, 2 bronze, 1 silver, 1 gold, you will get 150 for the 1 gold. So it will give you 1 for however, for the highest medal you got. And it's 50, 100, or 150. So the only difference that whatever you played is going to make is the medal you get. And that's going to be 150 XP max. So he was, on Reddit, he was saying like, oh, I only get 1,500 XP per match. And if that happens, it means you've completed the game so fast, you've steamrolled your opponents so quickly that, you're going to change the matches and it's going to be more XP anyway. So anyway, the bottom line is, yes, it's true. They have a harder time, Mercy and possibly other supports have a harder time getting medals. So maybe they're going to tweak this a little bit to make it, I don't know, different types of medals for support and that kind of thing. But still, the difference it makes is about 5% of the XP you get. So by the time it really matters, you spend, you're level 40 and your friends are level 41. So, or maybe 20.
Gotcha. Well,
there you go.
I apologize in advance if that specific person on Reddit is listening and you just had to sit through Patrick calling you an idiot.
Well, I don't think he's an idiot, but he was frustrated or she.
No, you can't backpedal now. You can't backpedal now. No, own it. Own it.
I meant, well, yeah, they were being disingenuous, which I interpreted as them being an idiot.
In Patrick's dictionary, disingenuous is a synonym to idiot. So.
Your words.
We got some updates on ranked play. They are currently working on it. They are still not sure if it will make launch and believe it will be very soon after launch. It better be. I still have not moved from my stance that I think it's highly unacceptable for it not to make launch. What is interesting, though, is we may actually see it tested in the beta. They're hoping that they get to test some version of it while it is still in beta. And that late March or early April is the soonest we may see ranked come to the beta test. Huge, big, fat, bold, all caps may on all of this, by the way. We may not see it at all. But this excites me. We might get to test it.
So ranked how do you think it should work? Should it be a Hearthstone-like thing where you reset every month, or should it be a longer-term season, or should there be no reset at all and you just rank the way you rank and work towards something?
I would like, I don't know. There's so many systems just within Blizzard alone that you can point to. The StarCraft system, the Hero system, and the Hearthstone system. I think the Hero system is the one I would like the most if they actually support it. At the moment, we have been in preseason with the same MMR for over a year, and it seems absurd at this point. But I would like that system as long as we are getting an MMR reset and a rank reset every once in a while. I definitely personally don't want it once a month. I think it's too soon in Hearthstone. I would like to see maybe 3-month seasons or something to that effect. But it's going to be something like that, right? It's going to be something you climb, whether it is an actual number like it is in Hearthstone or Heroes, whether it's divided into some type of league like it is in StarCraft. I don't really care. I just want it to work. I want to have something to work towards, and I want to be given enough of a time span that I feel like I can kind of work on it, that I can actually really climb and not have to grind, which is what I feel like I have to do in Hearthstone. Right. I feel like I really have to grind. You have to just it's a game of hours invested at a certain point with Hearthstone. So do all of those things that I just rambled off, Overwatch team.
So you would be happy with a, like, I don't know, 50 rank system where the first 10 you don't lose ranks, and then you have to start climbing seriously, and it resets every 3 months or so. I think that sounds pretty good. I would love to have a StarCraft type league stuff where I can say I'm bronze or I'm silver or I'm diamond, that kind of classification, more than just I'm rank 37 or something.
Yeah,
like
I
that.
like that better too. 'Cause I feel like with less ranks, it's less of a feel bad situation, because you get on Twitch and you watch Legend players and you're at rank 15, which is actually the top 25% of Hearthstone players, but you still feel terrible because like Legend is so far away. But if you're in StarCraft and you're Platinum and you're looking at Grandmaster, you're like, well, it's Diamond Master, Grandmaster. I'm actually not that far away. They're just nuts. These are crazy people, and I'm, at least for me personally, I accept that fact a little bit better in in doing what I shouldn't be doing, which is comparing myself to people on the internet. Because you can at the drop of a hat go and find the person who is perfect at whatever it is you're interested in doing.
Of course.
But there are issues with, I know there's issues with all the systems, and there's things that are great about all those systems. With the StarCraft one in specific, since what I think is kind of cool about the StarCraft system is you're thrown into, like, even once you're in bronze, you're still within your own little, like, I think 200 player ladder within bronze. Like, so you're like Bronze League sub 75 or something like that. But the issue with that system is, half of those players on that ladder could just stop playing. So you're just ranking up, but it's not actually a good representation of where you fall. So there's systems with there's issues with every system, and there's something that's great about all of them. But I personally like the bronze, silver, etc. type of classification. I think that's a fun thing to work towards.
All right, good info.
So, my real answer, I don't know, Patrick. I just want it to be good.
That is my answer too, actually. How did you know?
TLDR, I don't know. Be good. As far as the beta is concerned, the beta may or may not come down again. They aren't ruling it out. And Kaplan also said expect more players to be invited, which is good to know.
So the beta may come down again. I'm gonna echo the sentiment I had before it went down last time. I think if it comes out, let's say June 15th, I don't think it would be good for the game for it to keep going like it is now for another 3 months. If they plan on maybe testing the ranked system at some point, if the ranked system is going to be tested mid-April, then, and they don't have anything else to add current to this beta, leave it up for another 2 weeks and then bring it down. I think, it's exactly the same issue, or not issue, but the same question that we had last time. At some point when you're just playing the exact same thing without anything changing and without more people in, I think it's good to take the thing away to make you want it a little bit more.
I agree as well. But I could also see it coming down if they're going to test ranked. This is all pulling out of my butt. I don't know how hard it may or may not be to push that update live. But seeing as it went down before the big change in the progression system being added in, I wouldn't be surprised if it had to come down before implementing the rank system for testing. So
yeah, we'll
see.
And then the other little bits of info, there's one element that I really like. It's they're not finished adding game modes.
No, they're not. What do you think it could be?
Honestly, I have no idea. I mean, we've discussed that, escort the mech thing a few times. That could be a fun.
Would it be any different than payload though? If it's an escort, it's basically the same thing.
I mean, the capture the flag, except it's not a flag; it's a kind of a mech that you can get into. And
right. Yeah, I would like some. Bring in a little bit of that Heroes of the Storm. Like you get to pilot something.
Yeah, that could be fun, but really we have no idea. I mean, even that control game mode that they've added with this beta, I really didn't think it was going to be as fun as it is. It's super fun, and we're starting to see different strategies to that mode specifically. But I think the game is pretty much. I think it could be feature complete if they add, well, except for the ranked system, of course, but. They add one game mode, I would be happy with the diversity of maps and modes that we have for launch.
Yeah. I just really hope we don't get anything. If I remember correctly from Halo, it was called Oddball, where you have to like hold the skull to accrue points. And you just have to basically like not die, and you don't get to fight. And please don't make that a mode that's in the regular. Is that a concern with you? Because now that I'm thinking about it, that's now a concern with me. Because as the game currently is, it's not like you get to pick. I want to just play payload, or I just want to play point capture. It's just a big mix. So I'm worried if they add something I really don't enjoy, the aspect of possibly just having to play it.
So I think that their focus on every game mode seems to be you playing your character to kill the enemy characters.
Right.
It's really just an excuse to get you to do that in different ways. So I don't think they're gonna. Basically, what I'm saying is, I think if they add another mode, it's gonna be cool as well. Is what I hope.
I hope so as well. I'm right there with you. You don't want the game to suck, Patrick? Wow, what a brave
That's
statement.
Surprising.
What a
no, but I
statement.
think they're very. They seem to be very aware of what makes the game compelling, and I don't think they would introduce a game mode that would take away some of that. At least not for the release. Maybe when things get stale in a year or two, they might start thinking about widely different things. But I don't think that's going to happen at this stage. And the way the playlists work, I think it feeds you into different game modes really well. And when you're starting to think, I'd like something a little bit more fast-paced at this point, usually that's when you get to the crazy control mode maps. And it's almost like a break into the regular Overwatch. This is Frenzy Overwatch, right? And it's really enjoyable. And it's there for maybe 1 or 2 maps, and then it goes away, and you have a bunch of other maps until it comes back. So I'm sort of hoping that other additional game mode that they're going to add. And again, they didn't say if they were going to add it in the beta or in the live game. I'm hoping it's going to come for the beta. But if that gets added, I'm hoping it's going to be another mode which is just a little bit different in the pace or the feeling or something, but still, just Overwatch with a tiny twist like that, so that when it comes up in the rotations, it's not, I have to play that thing that is so different, but it's like, it's an entertainment portion of my video game entertainment I'm already playing.
Right? Yeah, I'm definitely in the same boat with you. So, and anything else from these interviews that we missed? I feel like we hit most of the points. Is there anything you wanted to touch on before we move on?
There's just one additional tidbit, which is they mentioned in another interview that they're focusing on the hardcore players with the ranked system. We've covered that already, but they're also focusing on the new players with better tutorials and AI matches. And I'm really happy to hear that they're doing that as well, because there's a significant portion of the player base which I think is not going to be ready to jump in to that punishing and frustrating experience of fighting against real life players, and it's going to be a much easier introduction if they get, first of all, better tutorials, even possibly tutorials for every character, different ones for every character. That would be awesome. But more importantly, all bots games, and then cooperative against bots, which, as I've discussed a few times on this show and others, is what really got me into Heroes of the Storm. So I think it plays a huge role for new players to get used to that kind of competitive game.
I 100% agree with you. When a new hero comes out in Heroes, I still, as the seasoned player I consider myself, I still go in and play against AI because I want to figure out how the new hero moves, what the range is on their abilities, what the shape of how does it work? Is it an AoE ability? Is it a targetable AoE ability? Is it a skill shot? What's going on? So I'm really glad that that's here as well. I am not surprised at all, though, by this statement. They have two big focuses: new players and the hardcore. Not surprised in the least.
Well, it depends what it means to have the tutorials and AIs. If it's just, you can play that and that's it, then okay, we basically already have it in the game. What I take it to mean is that they're going to actually polish and flesh out those modes so that they are actually an integral part of the game. In the Heroes sense more than maybe in the Hearthstone sense. Because in Hearthstone, they're kind of not really a big part of the game playing against AI. In Heroes, a lot of people do it, and it's a much more relaxed and fun atmosphere, and you don't really have any pressure on you.
Well, I think part of the reason it works so well in Heroes is that you can completely your daily quests, you can get XP, you can work towards your progression, and you can currently do that in Overwatch as well. So I think they've already nailed it as far as the AI games are concerned, because that means you can stay in there and you can still feel like you are progressing, but you can stay in that safety net for as long as it's comfortable for you. At no point does the game kick you out of it and say, "Okay, you've played enough. Now go get your butt kicked by actual people."
So do you think we're going to get daily quests?
Absolutely. Why wouldn't they add that to the game? That is what's currently missing, right? There's currently, like, there's not a daily draw to the game, which is something that is in pretty much every single Blizzard game, I guess, except Diablo. But that aside, you have daily quests in WoW, you have daily quests in Hearthstone, you have daily quests in Heroes. I absolutely expect there to be daily quests in Overwatch, although I'm not sure.
How would you structure them, though?
Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not sure. I don't know what the correct answer is, because they've already said that they don't want to incentivize you to play a specific hero. So, and even if you made it, you opened up the gate wider and said, well, play 10 games as a tank, so they don't specify the tank. But what if there's 2 people on your team that are really dead set on playing the tank, and you really don't need a third one?
Yeah. I think they would have to put it not play a game as a tank or as a whatever, because obviously they don't want you to keep the same character for the whole game. They want you to select the one that's relevant for this situation. I could see it like affect 10 people with your ultimate. So it's really not specific. Like if it's a heal, then, if it's Lucio, you have to affect 10 people with your, and it's not character specific. I mean, they just say affect 10 people with your ultimate. So
but then
if it's a destructive ultimate, you have to kill people and it accrues. You play Soldier 76, you kill 2 people with your ultimate, it counts for 2.
So,
and then you play Mercy, you res 2 people, it counts for 2, right?
But that's way easier to accomplish on someone like Widowmaker, where you're technically affecting the entire team no matter where you are, versus I'm going to punch holes in everything you suggest, so this is probably not the best.
You're right. I didn't think about her. I think she might be the only one, though. Isn't she?
My point is, though, it is much easier to accomplish that with certain heroes than others. Tracer's Bomb, holy crap, good luck. Good luck getting 10 people affected with that thing. But something like Hanzo's ultimate, although at this point probably significantly harder to affect as well. Most people know how to get out of the way of it.
Yeah, and maybe Widowmaker's ultimate could just count as 1, no matter what.
And that would suck.
Well, no, because you get it really often, and you can activate it, and it counts as 1 anyway, even if you don't, kill anyone with it.
Yeah, I guess it would be. I guess it wouldn't be so bad as long as you don't have to do it all on the one hero. That it's just accruing no matter how many heroes you swap or whatever. And the chat room is making a good point. I feel like we've just been ignoring it because it's obvious. Like you can have play 3 games or win 3 games or
those are obvious.
But you need more than that to keep it varied. If you just every day got in, it's like play 3 games. Well, it's the same daily every day. I mean, I would still go and do it because I want loot boxes, man. But but I also would like it to be, switch it up a little bit. So we'll have to see. I don't think it'd be the end of the world if they didn't have it, but I'd be really surprised because this seems like the type of game that you would want to incentivize people logging in once a day at least.
Yeah, for sure.
So, anyways, I think that kind of does it for the big news this week. So, Patrick, in closing, my question to you is, how do you feel about the beta? We've been sitting in here with the new shiny beta 2.0, for 2 weeks. How's it feeling, man? I
was saying in that episode that we recorded 2 weeks ago that I was at 9 out of 10 in my love for the game after having ended the beta at 11 or 12 or 13 in the previous iteration of the beta, and it only took a couple of extra days to get me back to that unreasonable level of attraction for Overwatch. It is pretty amazing how much I want to play this game. And I really don't know if it's just me, if I'm the exception. I'm level 40, yeah, as I was saying, 42, I think. I calculated that about a week or a week and a half in, I had played the game on average 4 hours a day.
Wow.
On average. And that's, every day. I don't think it's gone down since then. And it's just every time I think that I've had my fill, maybe I stop playing after a 2 hour session or something. And only half an hour or an hour passes where I feel like, you know what I would like to do right now? Play a little bit more Overwatch. That's what I would like to do. So I don't understand what they do with this game. It's a reward system, or it's like that palette that you're talking about. I get to a different character that I haven't played before, and I find out that I actually love that character, even though I thought I wasn't going to love it. My favorite thing to do now is play McCree. And, you spawn and you're like, justice ain't going to dispense itself. And I'm like, I know it isn't going to dispense itself. I have to dispense it. And it feels incredible. And when you get to that flanking position and you have your ultimate and you know that you're going to be able to sneak in and no one's going to see you, and you get that ultimate and it is high noon and you're going to kill 3 or 4 people with it, it feels amazing. I don't understand how this game is so fun.
I think for me, I can pinpoint it. It's the length of the games. They are rapid and varied. So for the most part, unless you are unless it was like our stream the other day, for the most part, if you're having a bad scenario, it's going to be over in 5 minutes and you're on to a new, fresh experience and you can try again. And I only start to get really tilted after a very long lose streak, whereas in Hearthstone, it's like if I lose 2 in a row, I'm like, all right, gotta step away. But in this, it's like, all right, 2 losses, all right, I can do 3. All right, let's keep going. And then I get a win, and I'm like, yeah, in your face. On to the next one. I'm a god.
And it's not just about winning the games, even though that feels awesome. It feels like, actually, I'm going to do a comparison with Heroes again. In Heroes, it feels a lot more difficult to play your character efficiently or to be in control of your own destiny. In Overwatch, when you're playing a character, you absolutely know what happened. You know where you messed up. You know when you did something really efficient and really skillful. I think that plays into it as well. And in a way, it is almost easy to have an awesome moment in Overwatch. Like, a lot of the times when you're going to have this rock, paper, scissors thing that is so strong that most likely you're going to come across some enemy that you're built to defeat, and you're going to defeat them, or you're going to have your ultimate that is going to be, even if you play it remotely correctly, you're going to be efficient with it. So you have a lot of feel good moments in Overwatch that are easily attained, is what it feels like.
Yeah. This just, I don't know. This is that Blizzard secret sauce on it, man. It's hard to pinpoint all the things. Like, for some, you've mentioned it before, and I think it was on the stream the other day that like there's something about losing in Heroes that just feels inherently bad, and it's hard to pick out what was good about everything that just happened. But in Overwatch, like, I'll lose a game, and it's like, well, that sucked, but I still had that dope-ass play, man, where I killed the Reaper in the middle of his Death Blossom. I lost, but I still had that one moment where I couldn't help it. I instinctively fist pumped the air.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's, to an extent, I think it is a little bit what you managed to get out of Hearthstone a little bit, because less so, but to an extent, even when you lose a game, there are often instances where you did counter some big play that they made, and you figured out this one way of playing your cards right and getting that big enemy, countering that big thing that happened, that one play. Every turn is a puzzle, and you manage to solve a couple of them, and you still feel a little bit good about yourself.
Yeah, it's a fun game. I'm very in on it as well. I think I definitely hit my first burnout ever this week, though. I think part of that was due to the lose streak, but it was the first time where I'm like, I don't have to play Overwatch tonight. But that lasted about a day. So
yeah. Yeah, I think we're slowly getting to that level where I'm starting to feel like maybe it's okay for me to not play Overwatch every day for 4 hours. But that's what I was saying, you get away from it, and then after an hour or so you're like, yeah, but I could be deflecting Hanzo arrows with Genji right now.
Yeah, and I think it's only going to get worse once the game goes live and everyone I know is in this game. Because to me, I know you don't really mind playing alone. For me, it's my least favorite thing in this game right now is playing alone. I would much rather be in there with friends, talking smack and laughing it up. But oh man, yeah, my enjoyment of this game I think is only going to get exponentially worse in a good way once it goes live. So
yeah, it's definitely going to be playing with lots of friends is going to be great, but also I think when everyone is actually in and enjoying the game and discussing the game, because for now there aren't enough people that we can talk about this with. We can post a quick video of how we ruled with that play of the game, Widowmaker, where we killed 5 enemies in 10 seconds. But it's still not the same. People look at it and they're like, oh, yeah, cool. It looks awesome. But when they're going to be sharing their own stuff and when you're going to be discussing those crazy situations that made your game awesome and all of this, I think it's going to be even more fun. So, yeah, I'm also looking forward to that.
Yeah, I can dig it. I've been saying all week, I'm so ready for this game to just be out. So bring it on, Blizzard. Let's get this out there. It feels about done to me, especially if ranked isn't required. So let's go. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for this episode. Hope everyone enjoyed it. Follow us on Twitter at OverwatchCast. Email us at mailoverwatchers@gmail.com. That's MAIL overwatchers@gmail.com. Subscribe to us on iTunes. Check out the VODs on youtube.com/amovetv. And Patrick, where could folks find you?
You can go to FrenchSpin.com where you can download, for example, the latest episode of Pixels, where I talk about my love for the other game that has been occupying my life in the past week or two, and that's Street Fighter V. I absolutely adore that game. It's super fun, and I discussed this and other general gaming news in the latest episode of Pixels. So again, FrenchSpin.com, you'll find Pixels, and I'm sure you will enjoy it.
Do you purposefully not invite me on the Pixels episodes when you're going to talk about Street Fighter V?
Do you love Street Fighter V?
No, I've probably played maybe 2 hours total of Street Fighter at all in my entire life.
See, that's the problem with you Americans. For some reason, you don't like Street Fighter, and you like that stupid Mortal Kombat.
Don't throw it all on Americans as a whole. My roommates in college thought I was crazy too, but no, I was born and raised on Mortal Kombat, personally.
Yeah, but I think it's.
But I don't think that's true. I don't think that's an American thing. Because, dude, I had so many friends in college who looked at me like I had 3 heads when I was like, "What Street Fighter, man? It's all about MK."
Yeah, it's. I do think that Mortal Kombat has a lot more popularity in the US than it does in Europe. And it's when the new one comes out, everyone knows about it. When the new Street Fighter comes out, it's a little bit less of a big deal. It's a reverse here in Europe, and certainly in Japan. Mortal Kombat is nowhere to be seen. But yeah, Street Fighter they're both fun. Street Fighter is just more better. But go listen to Pixels and you'll find out why.
I do think so. I mean, now at this point, I'm just not into fighting games, and Smash Brothers is my brawler of choice. I wouldn't even really call it a fighting game, but that's where I go and get crazy. So
yeah, that's why you don't get invited to the Pixels about Street Fighter V.
I was just checking because I'm pretty sure we've had this conversation before, and I was like, I wonder if he purposely just avoids me on those episodes because you should. I'm useless. I have nothing to bring to that discussion.
You'll be there on the next one, so we can discuss it then if you want.
Delightful. You can follow me on Twitter at Garrett Art, or you can find me not talking about Street Fighter or really Mortal Kombat. I have not stuck with that series at all. My interest in that game ended the second it went 3D. Much like Sonic, it's like, yeah, I'm done. I'm out. And you can find all of the podcasts that I do, including this one, over at amove.tv. twitch.tv. Also, if you're listening to this show on iTunes, keep those reviews coming, folks. Really do appreciate them. So on this episode, let's thank Slithy Tove, Christian Renslow, and Gamer, spelt with a bunch of characters very creatively. Thank you guys for your 5-star reviews. We really do appreciate them. Keep them coming, folks. That'll do it for now. Go enjoy Overwatch if you're not in the beta. I don't know, create a shrine and light some incense and pray to the Blizzard gods that you get in. And best of luck to you. We'll see you next time, everyone. Good luck and have fun.
Bye.